What's up, everybody? It is Izzy, back again with another episode of the Q&A, I believe 117 today. So with that said, make sure that you go and hit the like button right now, or else. Or else what? Or else. Anyway, first question of the day. What is driving your current preference for more free weight barbell movements? So it's going to seem like I'm ducking your question, and I swear that I'm not. I'm just going to take a really long way around to get there. The number one reason that people do not get to their potential is because they quit. And what is the number one reason that non-novices quit? It is because they burn out on training. They don't like it anymore. That could be because of a lack of progress, or it could be because it's so repetitive. Or maybe it's because they've been convinced that in order for them to continue to progress, they have to do a bunch of stuff that they hate. And I've seen this the most in powerlifting, where people were convinced that they had to do ultra high specificity, daily undulating, periodization style programming in order to be optimal and compete with the best people. And the vast majority of them end up with tons of injuries, overuse injuries 99% of the year, and they burn out. In fact, that is exactly what happened to me. The most ridiculous part about all of that, about forcing yourself to do things that you hate because it's quote unquote optimal and you're a competitor, is that it won't be enough to make the difference anyway. Look at a guy like Flex Wheeler. He literally didn't know how to train well. I don't care what anybody says. Doing 30 sets a workout for a body part on like 30 seconds rest where every single set is more than 5 reps from failure? No. No matter how optimal I trained, I would never have been able to close the gap between me and a guy like Russell Orhe, or if I tried to drop down to the 163s, Taylor Atwood. It wouldn't have mattered how good my training practices were, because that wasn't the difference between us. And even at the very top levels, like I mentioned with Flex Wheeler, people can still beat you doing completely wrong. Flex is top 5 all time. So let's all just keep it 100 with each other, right? If you are obsessing about optimal training, it's because you're a nerd and you like that kind of thing. You probably liked RPG games too, and figuring out the best way to level up your character and manipulate skill points to get the best build. You probably just like that kind of thing. It's not because you're dedicated to getting the best results. I bet you your nutrition isn't even 100% on point, or your sleep, or you play, basketball once a week, or you're one of these people that, for example, does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 5 to 6 times a week. So it's not truly about getting the best results possible. You just like nerding out. I have absolutely nothing against nerds. I am a nerd. I grew up playing chess competitively, for God's sake. And if you read any of my Powerlifting to Win content, you know that I am a lifting nerd also. But we have to keep things in perspective and remember that we are playing a game. And we simply like to nerd out on that game. However, never forget that you're nerding out because you enjoy it, not because you need to do what's 100% optimal to get the best results. In fact, to get the best results, you need to do something that will keep you in the game for a long time. What is ultimately going to determine your results is the quality of your process times the duration of your process. And a big component to the quality of your process is the enthusiasm with which you approach training. It doesn't make sense to make something 0.1% better in terms of quality if it cuts the duration. Now, obviously, there are some limits to what I'm saying here, but they're really pretty much irrelevant for people that are intermediate and beyond lifters that like lifting. Because if you take what I'm saying at face value and you apply it to like a general population weight loss client, they're just not going to want to do anything because they don't like anything because everything is hard, right? Whereas the vast majority of people who are lifting lifers, so to speak, or desire to be, they actually like lifting. So you have to do a bunch of shit that they truly hate to get them burned out and to quit. And they're not going to want to do anything that completely ruins progress. So what I'm talking about, for example, is taking out your favorite row variation to do a super duper strict machine chest supported row instead, because you read somewhere or you saw it on TikTok that is more optimal. It's probably not a move that makes any sense because it's going to decrease your enthusiasm for training for barely any difference. I think one of the primary considerations that needs to be made in the whole optimal discussion is personal enjoyment, because you are not a robot and you cannot just change your preferences because something is a couple percentage points more optimal. You're not a robot. You're a human being with feelings, and you have to respect your feelings. You need to consider what you actually enjoy, because if you do things that you enjoy, you will push them harder and for longer. So for me personally, man, I'm never going to be Mr. Olympia, and I may never get an IFBB Pro card. I just may not have the genetics for that no matter what I do. So I don't want to look back at my whole lifting career and wonder what could have been. My main motivation for doing this stuff is I want to see what's possible. I want to do epic shit that I look back on later in life and think that was so cool. And let's face it, putting up a monster conventional deadlift with the highest numbers possible is simply cooler. It's simply more epic than going over to the hammer strength lunge machine and maxing that out for strict RDLs, all because, it's more stable and it has a better strength curve, so maybe I'll gain a little bit more muscle. No, I want to do epic shit. That's why I've been picking more free weight movements. Now, am I saying you're never going to see me do machine movements again? You're never going to see me do optimal movements again? Absolutely not. Periodization is still a thing. There's a time and a place for everything. And when I'm gaining weight in the off season, that is the time and place to put up crazy barbell numbers. When I am 7% body fat and dieting into a show, that is not the time to be trying to squat 600 for reps on the safety bar. So you'll still see me doing other things. But for now, this is where my goals are. This is what has me excited, and that's why I'm pushing the free weight movements. With that said, let's do the ads. If you guys enjoy the Q&A, please remember to like the Q&A on YouTube when it comes out. If you want to become a more substantial supporter of the Q&A, you can become a Patreon for $1 a month. If you'd like to work with me directly for coaching, shoot me a DM on Instagram for fastest response. And if you'd like to check out my ebooks, you can find the links to those in my bio on Instagram or in the description box on YouTube. So until the next time, see ya everyone. Peace.